Imagine this. You're standing in Times Square. Thousands of people walk past you every minute. Different skin color, different languages, different cultures, different religions, different countries. At first glance, it seems like humanity is made up of billions of completely different people. But what if I told you every single person you just walked past is your family? Not metaphorically, not spiritually, biologically. According to modern genetics, every human alive today is related. The real question isn't whether we are related. The question is, how did scientists figure that out? And if we're all family, why can't we all even share blood? Today, we're going on a journey stretching back hundreds of thousands of years to uncover one of the greatest stories science has ever told. Let's start with something simple. You have two parents, four grandparents, eight great grandparents, 16 great great grandparents. Every generation, that number doubles. Sounds normal? Okay. Until you keep going. After only 10 generations, you have over 1,000 ancestral positions. After 20 generations, over 1 million. After 30 generations, more than 1 billion. But here's the problem. 1,000 years ago, there weren't 1 billion people living in your ancestors' region. So, where did all these ancestors come from? The answer is, they didn't. Instead, the same people began appearing over and over again in your family tree. Scientists call this the pedigree collapse. Your great-great-grandparents may have shared common ancestors. Your cousins became distant grandparents. Branches crossed. Family trees merged. Now imagine this, not for 30 generations, but for thousands. Eventually, everyone's family tree begins connecting, which means every person alive today shares common ancestors. Here's something that shook even scientists. Take two random humans. Let's say one from Nigeria, one from Japan, one from Brazil, and one from Iceland. Genetically, they're about 99.9% identical. Think about that. Everything that makes us different, everything that makes us appear different, our skin, hair, eyes, height, facial features, come from only about 0.1% of our DNA. In other words, people often focus on what separates us. Science discovered there's far more that unites us. Here's something even crazier. Chimpanzees living in different parts of Africa can actually have more genetic diversity between them than humans living on the opposite side of Earth. Why? Because humans are surprisingly young species. Now let's travel back. Around 300,000 years ago, modern humans evolved in Africa for over 200,000 years. Every single human lived there. Then, something remarkable happened. Small groups began leaving. Not armies, families, children, grandparents, generation after generation, walking, exploring, following rivers, crossing deserts, eventually spreading into Europe, Asia, Australia, and finally the Americas. This journey took tens of thousands of years. Every step added another chapter to humanity's story. This is where many people get confused. If we're all one species, why don't we all look alike? The answer: natural selection. Imagine living near the equator. The sun is intense. Too much ultraviolet radiation can damage folate, which is important for healthy pregnancies and can harm the skin. People with melanin, darker skin pigmentation, had better protection. Over many generations, that trait became common. Now, imagine moving to Northern Europe. Sunlight becomes much weaker. Vitamin D becomes much harder to produce. Individuals with lighter skin could make vitamin D more efficiently in low UV environments. Over thousands of generations, natural selection shifted average skin pigmentation in those populations. Different environments favored different traits. The same process also influenced body proportion, hair characteristics, and facial features. Not because one population was better, but because evolution continually adapts population to local environments. Imagine a village with 1,000 people. Only 50 decide to leave. Those 50 don't carry every gene from the original population. Their descendants inherit only the genes those founders happened to carry. Scientists call this the founder effect. This is one reason certain genetic traits, including some blood types, become more common in different parts of the world. Here is another one of my favorite ideas in science. Scientists talk about something called the most recent common ancestor, or MRCA. This wasn't the first human. Instead, it was the most recent individual from whom every person alive today is descended. Researchers estimate this person may have lived only a few thousand years ago, although the exact date remains uncertain. That doesn't mean they were the only person alive. It means that through thousands of years of marriages and migrations, their descendants eventually spread throughout the world. It's a reminder that human history is far more interconnected than we often imagine. Now comes my favorite part. Imagine this. You're in the hospital. You've lost a dangerous amount of blood. Your best friend is standing beside you. You share 99.9% of your DNA. Your family tree connects. Your ancestors eventually meet. Yet, their blood could kill you. How? Your red blood cells were tiny molecules called antigens. Think of them like ID badges. Type A has one badge, type B has another, type AB has both, type O has neither. Then comes another badge, the RH factor. Positive means you have it, negative means you don't. I'm O positive. That means my blood has the RH antigen. If someone who is O negative receives my blood, their immune system would recognize the RH antigen as foreign and mount an immune response. Not because we're different species, not because we're unrelated, but because of one tiny inherited difference. Now, here's the amazing part. Evolution never planned for hospitals. Blood transfusions are a very recent invention. For most of all of human history, nobody received another person's blood. There was no evolutionary pressure to make everyone's blood universally compatible. Instead, different blood groups may have helped our ancestors survive different infectious diseases. Research have found association such as type O being linked to reduced risk of severe malaria in some regions. Some blood groups influencing susceptibility to infections like cholera or norovirus, some affecting blood clotting and cardiovascular risk. No blood type is perfect. Each comes with potential advantages and disadvantages depending on the environment. Evolution doesn't create perfection, it creates survival. When people say we're all one family, science quietly smiles. Because it's true. Every athlete, every president, every child, every person you've ever disagreed with, every stranger you've ever passed on the street, every human who has ever lived belongs to the same enormous family tree. The difference we see today are real, but they are recent. Our shared ancestry is ancient. I think one of the greatest discoveries humanity has ever made isn't that we landed on the moon, or discovered DNA, or built telescopes powerful enough to see the edge of the observable universe. I think it's this. After studying fossils, our genes, our migrations, and our blood, science reached a remarkable conclusion. We're not billions of separated stories. We are one story, one species, one family, a family that left Africa, walked across the earth, adapted to deserts, forests, mountains, ice ages, learned thousands of languages, built thousands of cultures, yet never stopped being human. The next time you look into the eyes of someone from another part of the world, remember you're looking at a distant relative whose journey simply took a different path. And maybe that's one of the most beautiful truths our DNA has ever revealed.